In a world consumed by fire and destruction, a lone hero's voice echoes. It has already been 20 years since I left Earth and found myself in another world. Flames erupt from his weapon as he solidifies his resolve. Today is the day I will defeat the monster and save the world. With that final declaration, he dashes forward in a blur of motion. A massive explosion rocks the battlefield, the sheer force of the impact sending shockwaves through the air. From the dust and smoke, a menacing silhouette with glowing red eyes emerges, a terrifying aura surrounding it. A great winged demon stands amidst the rubble, looking down on its opponent with a mocking tone. You endured that too? Truly befitting of the hero. The demon continues its taunt. That being said, your companions are barely hanging on. The scene pans to show the hero's party, the saintess, the mage, and the knight, all panting and exhausted from the battle. The hero Lee Hyun-seok appears, spear in hand and looking unfazed. He retorts coolly, "Really now? You don't look so hot yourself." Enraged by the hero's insolence, the demon roars, "How insolent!" as it gathers a ball of dark energy in its hand. Lee Hyun-seok's eyes glint with determination as he prepares to face the incoming attack. With incredible speed, the hero charges forward, deflecting the demon's assault with a powerful swing of his spear. The companions are shown trapped and struggling against a powerful force, letting out a pained grunt. The demon, crackling with dark purple lightning, bellows in fury, "If you won't submit, I'll tear you to pieces." It unleashes a devastating wave of energy, screaming, "This land is a kingdom forged by my teeth and claws." As Lee Hyun-seok braces for the impact, a close-up on Lee Hyun-seok's determined face shows him enduring the full force of the demon's attack. The demon's magic explodes in a chaotic blast of purple and black energy. Lee Hyun-seok tightens his grip on the shaft of his spear, preparing to retaliate. Flames of immense power erupt around the hero as he gathers his energy for a final, decisive blow. "Let's end this," he declares. A brilliant explosion of golden light signifies the hero unleashing his ultimate skill. Gritting his teeth, Lee Hyun-seok pushes his attack forward, channeling all his power into his spear. His power manifests as a blinding flash of white and yellow light, consuming everything in its path. Lee Hyun-seok stands ready to strike, his body wreathed in the brilliant flames of his signature technique. Paradox Flame. The hero's fiery attack smashes against the demon, creating a violent clash of opposing energies. Bracing for the final push, he stomps his foot firmly onto the ground, creating a powerful shockwave. The ground itself erupts with a massive beam of energy, striking the target and causing a cataclysmic explosion that engulfs the battlefield. In the midst of the clash, the monster and the hero, Lee Hyun-seok, lock eyes, both resolute and unyielding. The ground shatters and burns, bearing the scars of the immense power that was just unleashed. The monster is thrown back by the force of the blast, while Lee Hyun-seok stands firm against the shockwave. The monster's clawed hand emerges from the chaos, seemingly untouched by the hero's initial assault. Lee Hyun-seok is seen being pushed back, his body glowing with red energy as he resists the immense pressure. He digs his heels in, grunting with effort as he struggles to hold his ground against the monster's power. The monster scoffs at the hero's effort, its voice dripping with arrogance. "An attack that's soft won't leave even a scratch." Lee Hyun-seok clenches his fist, a smirk playing on his lips. "Soft, you say?" In a flash, he brings his spear, now burning with the paradox flame, right up to the monster's face. Staring directly into the monster's eyes, he declares, "It's more than enough to cut down that arrogance of yours." The black and red flames of the paradox flame begin to spread across the monster's body. A piece of the monster's golden headpiece breaks off and clatters to the ground, defeated by the strange fire. The monster looks down in shock as the inextinguishable flames begin to consume its very being. In disbelief, the monster mutters, "To think there was a human in this world who could stand against me." Lee Hyun-seok stands tall and corrects the beast, his voice steady. "Let me say this again. I'm not from this world." The monster seems to accept its end, beginning a final monologue. "You're spouting nonsense until the very end. Well, it doesn't matter. I may fall like this now, but my body will be absorbed into the land, and one day." The monster's speech cuts off as its eyes widen in sudden, dawning horror. It realizes something is terribly wrong. As the monster silently questions if it is being erased from existence, Lee Hyun-seok voices its fear. "You're having trouble regenerating, aren't you?" He explains the nature of his power as the flames intensify. "This black flame burning you is my special ability, which I've named the Paradox Flame. Unlike normal flames that burn using oxygen, it uses abstract concepts as fuel." Lee Hyun-seok continues, "Resurrecting yourself for centuries was your hobby, but that's over now, because what is burning right now is your very existence. Realizing the finality of its doom, the monster unleashes a final, parting curse. Does this mean my time here is at an end? Though I may be erased from this place, you will never be remembered as the hero who saved the world. The monster reveals a shocking truth, because those people you believe to be your companions are actually just waiting for you to die here. In the background, the saintess, mage, and knight look on, their faces pale with shock. To the monster's utter astonishment, Lee Hyun-seok replies with a calm, unwavering certainty, "I know." The monster can only react in disbelief. "You knew." The saintess rushes to do damage control, pleading, "Sir Hero, you mustn't believe the words of a monster." But Lee Hyun-seok begins to expose their treachery. "Should I start with the saintess? That woman claimed to love me, seducing me every day. But in truth, she despises me to death for being an outsider." The saintess's face contorts in pure terror as the hero continues to reveal her true intentions. Her attempts in seduction were all part of a plan. He continues to spell out the saintess's plan, so that when the time comes to purge the hero after the subjugation is over, I would hesitate to attack her. He looks directly at the stunned saintess, whose face is frozen in fear. "Saintess, am I wrong?" he asks, his voice cold. Lee Hyun-seok turns his attention away from her. "The other two are the same," he states flatly. He moves on to the knight, exposing his motives. "The knight, in order to eliminate me after I killed the monster, received a national treasure from the emperor." The knight grits his teeth, his inner thoughts revealing the truth. "That cowardly emperor made a petty move, afraid I'd take his throne." Out loud, he can only ask in shock, "How did you know that?" Next, he points out the mage's resentment. "And the mage, who loves human experimentation, seems to hate me simply because I oppose the slavery system." The old mage glares, his face twisted in anger. With a chilling finality, Lee Hyun-seok reveals the full extent of his awareness. "In short, the fact that they would kill me after your death is something I've known for the past 5 years." From within the flames, the dying monster speaks, its voice filled with confusion. "I do not understand, O hero." It continues, "With the power you used to corner me, you could have easily destroyed this world that turned its blades against you." Lee Hyun-seok looks on with a weary expression, finally revealing his true motivation. "I didn't do that because I wanted to go home." The concept is utterly foreign to the monster, who can only echo in disbelief. "You want to go home." The scene shifts, taking us back in time. 20 years ago, 2005, Earth. The hero's narration begins, showing his past self as a normal office worker. "I was an ordinary 30-year-old office worker until I was led by a being named a goddess and transported to another world." The goddess's voice rings out, "Chosen hero, please save this world from the monsters." The hero reflects, "You know, there are plenty of stories like that, tales of an ordinary person succeeding in another world, but the reality was a nightmare. However, the other world I arrived in was a disaster in and of itself." All around him were scenes of death and destruction, with people screaming, "Kayak, please save me." He explains his desperation to leave. "I tried every method imaginable to return to Earth, but there was only one way. That one way was the goddess's mission, defeat the monsters and save the world." He walks through a frozen wasteland, past the corpse of a monster. "And so, for 20 years, I trained to fight against the monsters. In a memory, town guards block his path. Even if you are the hero, you can't just go off on your own," one says, while the other points and exclaims, "That thing in your hands." A younger Lee Hyun-seok holds a frail, rescued child, pleading with the guards. "I rescued a child from the village. Let me in." The guards are heartless. "Ha, it's obviously about to die. You should have just left it," one sneers. "What a waste of medicine," the other adds. Lee Hyun-seok narrates, "This alternate world, which chose to abandon the wounded rather than rescue them, was unbelievably cruel. But the cruelty didn't end there. But the more serious problem was," as a man's agonizing scream fills the air, "AGHHHH." The narration explains the grim reality of this world's medical practices. The medieval levels of medicine and hygiene. A man is held down as a crude doctor prepares to amputate his infected limb, yelling, "Hold him down. We have to cut it off before the infection spreads further." He recalls the horrible scenes. They're amputating his leg for a simple infection. All the healers are mobilized for battle, so there's no one to treat the wounded. As he looks on with a hardened expression, someone calls out to him, "Sir Hero." Another memory surfaces, this one even worse. A group of religious fanatics are burning people at the stake. A woman asks him, "That child was captured by monsters. How did you manage to get them back?" But as the hero narrates, something even more horrifying was. One of the fanatics, a priestess, explains their horrific logic. It seems the child survived because a demon has taken root within it. We shall exorcise the demon ourselves. We happen to be in the middle of exorcising a few right now anyway. The priestess challenges his morality. Surely you wouldn't go against the will of the gods, Sir Hero, Lee Hyun-seok thinks to himself. These disgusting otherworlders, with no concept of human rights. The priestess finishes, if you wish for salvation, you must cast aside such useless pity. The long, painful flashback concludes. And so, after enduring for 20 years, back in the present, his quest finally complete, Lee Hyun-seok screams towards the heavens. I've completed the mission I was given. Keep your promise. A pillar of divine light descends from the blood-red sky, bathing the hero and his former companions in its glow. The light intensifies, solidifying into a radiant presence on the battlefield. A beautiful, winged being with long, golden hair appears, the goddess. She smiles gently and says, "You have endured much, Sir Hero. Through your arduous efforts, you have defeated the monster." Ignoring her praise, Lee Hyun-seok points his spear at her and gets straight to the point. Hey, goddess, you remember, don't you? That once I caught the monster, all the experiences and memories I had here, and even my soul would be perfectly preserved. He finishes his demand, and you'd send me back to Earth. The goddess simply smiles back at him. The goddess questions his choice. Do you truly not like this world, even though you've gained enough power to be a threat to me? She gestures to the world below. If you return to Earth, all the achievements of hero Lee Hyun-seok will be void. Lee Hyun-seok lets out a short, humorless laugh, completely unimpressed by her words. He calls her out, seeing through her facade. Cut it with the act. You're just relieved I'm leaving as promised. He adds knowingly, this world no longer has a need for a monster after all. Her smile fades, replaced by a somber expression as she asks one last time, will you truly not regret this? He drops his spear, the weapon that saw him through 20 years of hell. There is only one thing I desire, to return to the world I once knew. The spear clatters to the ground, a final, definitive end to his life as a hero. That is all. The goddess concedes, very well. Lee Hyun-seok breathes a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, this godforsaken otherworld. As his hand begins to dematerialize, he finishes his thought with immense satisfaction. Is finally behind me. Engulfed by the pillar of light, he begins his journey home. But the goddess adds a final condition. Because your physical body has already perished on Earth. As he fades away, she continues, I will place your soul into a new vessel. He asks, whose body am I going into? The goddess cryptically explains, I cannot explain in detail, but it is a body fated for a wretched end. However, I am certain you will be able to survive. His soul, now a being of pure light, accepts the terms without a second thought. As long as I can return to Earth, I don't care if I end up with a body with an unsavory fate. No matter how difficult and harsh a fate I may face. With his final thought, he leaves the fantasy world behind forever. It will surely be better than what I experienced here. With a soft pop, his consciousness arrives in its new vessel. He opens his eyes, finding himself in a simple, modern bedroom. He thinks, am I back? The scene is set. On Earth, in the year 2025, the soul of hero Lee Hyun-seok has entered the body of a civilian named Yu Chan-seok. He sits up, clenching his fist as a wave of resentment washes over him. Those rotten otherworld bastards, he thinks to himself. It's nice that I won't have to see those traitors anymore, when he suddenly catches his reflection. A mirror. He stares at the unfamiliar young face in the mirror, touching it with a sense of wonder and finality. So you're me from now on. Leaning against the mirror, the reality of it all finally hits him. I'm really back to Earth. He rushes to the bathroom and turns on the faucet, splashing the clean water on his face with pure joy. Water, clean water, uncontaminated water, he exclaims. This is real magic. To hell with all you mages. Next, he discovers the gas stove, marveling at the instant flame. Fire with just a press of a button. No more of that damn wood chopping and campfires. He finds a takeout box, and the delicious smell alone is enough to make him ecstatic. Yes, this is what I missed. He opens the box and stares in disbelief at the golden, crispy contents. Don't tell me, this is chicken. With trembling hands and wide eyes, he picks up a piece of fried chicken, about to experience a taste he hasn't had in 20 years. He sits quietly on the floor, taking a bite and savoring the moment. He holds the chicken aloft like a sacred treasure, overcome with emotion. It's so good. It brings tears to my eyes. Yes, this is what real food tastes like. Tears of joy and relief stream down his face as he thinks, I missed this so much. All of this. Looking out the window at the city skyline, where a strange red pillar of light glows in the distance, he finally feels at peace. Finally, I can live a normal life. He processes his new reality. First, I need to adapt to the Earth of now. What? It's already 2025, so the otherworld's time flowed accordingly to this world. Well, it doesn't matter. With a determined gaze fixed on the city, he accepts his future, whatever it may hold. No matter how difficult and hard it is to adjust, it wouldn't be more horrifying than the otherworld. The story is to be continued. The scene opens with a shower running, the water streaming down. Yu Chanseok stands under the shower, a blissful expression on his face as he enjoys the feeling of hot water that pours down without having to wait. He then enjoys the cold air from an air conditioner, a luxury that comes out with just the push of a button. Looking out at the clear, bright sky over the city, he thinks to himself, "This is it. This is nothing like that nasty another world." A memory of a horrifying monster flashes through his mind as he contemplates his new life in the year 2025. He wonders, what should I do first? Maybe I'll start with StarCraft. The traumatic memory makes him jump back in fear, letting out a scream. Suddenly, his panic is interrupted by a building-wide announcement. Ahem, an announcement for all residents. The speaker crackles, leaving Yu Chanseok to wonder, what is this? The announcement declares that a corrosion rift has appeared within the apartment complex. Yu Chanseok drops to the floor in shock, exclaiming, "What? A corrosion rift? What the hell is that?" The announcement urges all residents to evacuate to the underground shelter immediately. Utterly bewildered, Yu Chanseok can only think, what in the world is going on? His eyes, glowing gold, dart around, now on high alert. To his horror, he sees humanoid monsters with white masks and dark, hairy bodies crawling up the walls towards him, laughing maniacally. The sharp claw of a monster scrapes against the glass, signaling their imminent breach. The scene shifts to an empty, dark stairwell, the only viable escape route. Yu Chanseok bolts down the stairs as the monsters burst in right behind him. As he flees, he desperately wonders, what are they? With the creatures swarming after him, his mind races. What the hell is happening on Earth? The horde of monsters continues its relentless pursuit down the concrete stairs. Thinking fast, Yu Chanseok leaps out of a window in the stairwell to escape. He cautiously peeks out from his hiding spot, breathing a sigh of relief. Phew, I finally lost them. His relief is short-lived as he spots a small, chubby boy with a bowl cut running nearby. A kid, he thinks, while the boy, seeing him, thinks, oh, it's a person. Yu Chanseok tries to warn him, it's dangerous here, hurry to the shelter. But the boy, Yoonseong, casually asks, hey mister, did you see where the monster went? Yu Chanseok is stunned into silence, only managing a confused what. Yoonseong confidently declares, I'm gonna go kill it, you wanna come too? Completely floored, Yu Chanseok asks, what did you say? His world is turned upside down as he processes a devastating thought. They say Earth has been like this for 13 years now, damn it. Yu Chanseok finds himself reluctantly following the boy. As he thinks, he insisted he wouldn't go to the shelter and I couldn't just leave him by himself. And just like that, I ended up tagging along with this kid. Yoonseong cheerfully adds, there are corrosion rifts even older than me. Trying to make sense of this bizarre new reality, Yu Chanseok looks down at the boy and begins to formulate a question in his mind. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, Yoonseong explains that a corrosion rift is an exit that monsters come out of, and nobody knows why they form or when and where they'll appear. As an image of a horrifying entity flashes in his mind, Yu Chanseok confirms, yeah, that's right. An intense anger surfaces in Yu Chanseok's thoughts. Ha! I went through that living hell to come back to Earth, only to find out that this place has become a hellhole too. Isn't this too much, you damned goddess? Yoonseong turns to him, puzzled. But wait, how come you don't know any of this? Caught off guard, Yu Chanseok quickly lies. Huh. Oh, well, I was living in America for a while. The boy retorts, what? How'd you manage that? The US president got impeached for trying to secretly send his daughter to Korea. I saw on YouTube you can't come to Korea from there. Yu Chanseok is left speechless, wondering, just what is he talking about now? Trying to change the subject, Yu Chanseok stammers, well, actually, anyway, that hunter you like, who was it again? The boy's mood instantly brightens as he shouts, Lee Seun. Yoonseong excitedly explains that she's in the Janabi Guild, ranked 10th on Earth, and her main weapon is a greatsword. As he speaks, an image of the hunter Lee Seun battling a giant monster appears. Relieved, Yu Chanseok thinks, phew, I changed the subject naturally enough, but Yu Chanseok is still troubled. He thinks, but still, a normal human fighting a monster, just like that world I came from, how is that even possible? Yoonseong adds, I especially like her cool greatsword. Meanwhile, Yu Chanseok seems to have come to a realization. The boy's excitement grows. There's a must-see Lee Si-yoon video. I'll show it to you on you too. Before Yu Chanseok quickly claps a hand over his mouth. Yu Chanseok curses under his breath, "Damn it!" as he holds the confused boy tightly. He has spotted more trouble ahead. His internal monologue is grim. Monsters, a lot of them. His battle-honed senses kick in as he analyzes the threat. The exact number is 5. No, with the one hiding, there are 6 in total. He assesses his new body's capabilities. Thankfully, this body seems to have above-average strength. I'm used to fighting multiple enemies, so that shouldn't be a problem, but Yoon Seong trembles in fear behind him. He looks down at the terrified child who is now crying. What should I do with this kid? If I leave him alone, something bad will definitely happen to him. Where'd his determination to kill monsters go? He considers his options, thinking, without a proper weapon, what am I supposed to? When he notices a faint blue glow around his hand. As he stands protectively in front of Yoon Seong, he feels a familiar energy swirling in the air around the monsters. Wait, this stuff in the air. Could it be mana? The blue energy becomes more distinct, confirming his suspicion. I'm sure of it. It's the same as what I saw in that world. In that case, as one of the monsters lunges forward, a mysterious dark purple flame suddenly appears on its face. The monster lets out a piercing shriek as the flames begin to consume it. Yu Chanseok feels the mana in the air gathering around him. He thinks, the mana I built up for 20 years is gone, but if there's mana in the air, it means I can still use the paradox flame that's engraved on my soul. A confident smirk spreads across his face as he adds, the firepower is a little disappointing, but with a powerful gesture, he unleashes his paradox flame, engulfing the monsters in a vortex of dark energy. This should be more than enough. Yoon Seong watches, completely starstruck, and yells, Mister, that was amazing. Yoon Seong, with stars in his eyes, says, to be honest, I was a little skeptical since you didn't know anything, but to think you have a unique skill. Yu Chanseok awkwardly pats the boy's head, thinking, so they call it a unique skill here, and replies, haha, I'm just glad you're not hurt. Suddenly, Yoon Seong remembers a tip from a video. Oh, right, on the official Hunter Academy YouTube channel, they said confirming the kill is important. He starts to run towards the disintegrated remains. Panicked, Yu Chanseok shouts, wait. Yu Chanseok's eyes narrow as he focuses on his power, his mind flashing back to its nature. The flames of the paradox flame don't go out until the target is dead. He explains internally that his flames are relentless, showing a monster being completely consumed within the dark purple blaze. A brilliant flash of light signals the complete and utter annihilation of the creatures, leaving no trace behind. He turns to the still-shocked Yoon Seong, whose eyes are wide with disbelief. Kiddo, he begins. A brutal image of a bloody hand crushing a monster's core flashes, illustrating the grim reality of battle. He continues, I don't know what YouTube is, but you should probably stop watching it. He stands over the boy, who has fallen to the ground in awe, the dark remnants of the paradox flame still swirling behind him. The scene flashes back to an earlier confrontation. Yu Chanseok asks a startled Yoon Seong, can I borrow that staff you're holding? To which the boy can only utter, ah. Yoon Seong nervously hands over the wooden staff, saying, here. Immediately, a monster with a white mask lunges at them. In what appears to be a different location or a different fight, Yu Chanseok and Yoon Seong find themselves surrounded by a swarm of the same masked creatures. Yu Chanseok's eyes narrow with focus, a golden glint of determination shining within them. With lightning speed, he swings the staff, creating a blur of motion as he begins his assault. He moves with practiced ease, a whirlwind of motion as he single-handedly takes on the entire group of monsters, his body a blur of dodges and powerful strikes. Yoon Seong can only watch, his mouth agape in pure, unadulterated shock at the display of skill. Yoon Seong stammers in amazement, amazing? Mister, are you secretly a hunter? Standing amidst the blood and defeated monsters, Yu Chanseok catches his breath and thinks with weary resignation, ha, seriously. The stench of the aftermath fills the air, and he thinks in disgust, to think I'd have to smell the stench of blood even after coming to Earth. He clenches his teeth, his frustration boiling over. I went through all that hell hopping to rest easy, but if this is what Earth is like now, then it's no different from that world. The scene shifts to an underground shelter, where a crowd of evacuated civilians murmurs anxiously amongst themselves. Suddenly, a chilling crack appears in the shelter's reinforced wall, a sign that their sanctuary is not as safe as they thought. Inside the shelter, before the breach, Yu Chanseok and Yoon Seong share a moment. Yu Chanseok muses, so instead of grade schoolers, they're called little brats now? Yoon Seong indignantly replies, That's a very mean way to call elementary schoolers. A frantic woman with dark hair and elegant clothes appears screaming "Yonsong" as she spots her son. It's Yunseong's mother. She rushes to them, relieved but scolding. Did you bring Yunseong here? Thank you so much. He can be so reckless. You must have had a hard time. Yoon-seong greets his mom as Yoo Chan-seok awkwardly accepts her thanks. Yoo Chan-seok quickly takes in her appearance, the luxury earrings and designer clothes. He thinks to himself, so this kid was a rich young master. That explains it. Just then, a deafening boom shakes the entire shelter, and Yoo Chan-seok looks up in alarm. A massive, dark fist smashes through the supposedly secure wall of the shelter. The wall violently explodes inward, sending debris flying as a hulking monster forces its way into the terrified crowd. Panic erupts in the shelter. A man screams, the outer wall of the shelter collapsed. Another voice yells, everyone run. Yoon-seong frantically pulls at Yoo Chan-seok's shirt, urging him, Mister, I think we have to run this time. But Yoo Chan-seok remains still, his face shadowed with grim acceptance. Yoon-seong yells his name again, but he is lost in thought. I wasn't asking for much, he thinks. His internal monologue continues, filled with sorrow. I just wanted to return to the world I knew, to my home that I missed so dearly. He looks down at his hand, scarred from countless battles, and asks the empty air, did I ask for too much? He turns his attention back to the boy. Hey, brat, he says. Hiding behind his mother, Yoon-seong retorts, I told you not to call me that. As a hulking monster stands menacingly before them, Yoo Chan-seok asks pointedly, You're rich, aren't you? Why are you still trying to become a hunter? Can't you just hide out somewhere safe and live comfortably? You don't have to fight. Yoon-seong's expression hardens with resolve. He answers with a heavy heart, I lost my dad to a monster. He elaborates on the tragedy. A corrosion rift opened up in the underground bunker we thought was safe. That's when I realized that there's no safe place on Earth. An image of his determined future self appears as he voices his conviction. So even though I'm not strong like you yet, and monsters are still scary, I'm going to become the strongest hunter, get rid of all the corrosion rifts. With all the courage he can muster, Yoon-seong looks at Yoo Chan-seok and makes a bold declaration. And save the world. Yoon-seong begins to say, it might sound like a stupid dream to you, but... However, Yoo Chan-seok surprises him with a gentle smile, replying, no, you'll become a great hunter. As he walks past the boy and his mother towards the monsters, he adds a crucial caveat. It's just you won't be able to save the world. Yoon-seong's mother frantically tries to pull him away to safety. Yoon-seok, that's enough. Let's go now, okay? But the boy can't take his eyes off the lone figure protesting, wait a minute, Mister is still. Yoo Chan-seok strides past them, his determined gaze fixed on the enemy ahead, stunning Yoon-seong into silence. As Yoo Chan-seok faces the breach alone, Yoon-seong calls out after him one last time, Mister. A close-up on Yoon-seong's eyes reveals a shift from fear to dawning realization and awe. Surrounded by the swirling purple energy of his paradox flame, Yoo Chan-seok turns back slightly and declares his purpose. Because I'm going to do it. Yoon-seong stares, mesmerized, as the words echo in his mind. Saving the world. With a knowing, almost weary smile, Yoo Chan-seok accepts his inescapable destiny. Is a job for someone who's done it before. The story begins with a recap of the protagonist's life. He was summoned to another world where he had to fight monsters for 20 years. After finally making his way back to Earth, he had no time to enjoy his freedom as he was immediately confronted by a corrosion rift. Fortunately, he survived by drawing on his past life's experience. He also made a promise to a kid that he would save the world. However, he confesses that he did nothing. The scene then shows him, Yoo Chan-seok, completely engrossed in playing a video game, looking like a slob. On his computer screen, the word victory flashes, indicating his win in the game. Yoo Chan-seok casually remarks, I won. Too easy. Showing a stark contrast between his past as a world-saving hero and his current life as a gamer. He then cracks open a can of soda, a simple pleasure he couldn't enjoy in the other world. He recalls confidently declaring that someone who's saved the world once can do it again. But his desire to save the world didn't last long, as he is shown relaxing in his gaming chair. The games and abundant food he could only dream of in the other world, and a system where you can do anything with just one touch, were too tempting to resist. He thinks to himself that there are already hunters for saving the world. He decides to just order some delivery food, but as he checks his phone, he's shocked to find out he's spent all his severance pay, with only 3,201 left. The text explains that the original owner of this body, also named Yoo Chan-seok, was an employee at a logistics company that went bankrupt due to a corrosion rift. Now that Yu Chanseok's severance pay has run out, he has tried to find a new job. But he laments that there's no way he can get a normal job in the current situation. With a desperate look, he realizes that because of the constantly appearing corrosion rifts, most companies are going out of business, so his unemployment is to be expected. He needs a job to survive in modern society, but it seems like no one is hearing new people. He wonders what he is supposed to do. Just then, an ad for Hunter recruitment pops up on his phone. He mutters, "Well," looking down at the Hunter Association building from above. He acknowledges that he does have experience in this line of work. The scene shifts to the Hunter selection venue, where many candidates are gathered. One of them exclaims excitedly, "Wow, I'm going to be a hunter." But his companion tells him not to get too excited, as it's just the hunter selection. The cynical friend adds that the selection test has become just a formality these days. According to him, you get selected just by showing a unique skill. He looks at the other candidates with disdain, thinking that they're all the same, just a bunch of small fries. As a woman with long black hair walks past, the man who was just talking wonders aloud, "Aren't we going to get too famous?" Another man nearby taps him on the shoulder, smugly commenting that this batch of candidates is the best. Suddenly, the man's expression changes to one of pure shock as he recognizes the woman who just walked by, shouting, "What the hell? It's Lee Si-yoon." The crowd erupts in murmurs as Lee Si-yoon makes her entrance. A text box confirms her identity. Lee Si-yoon, World Hunter ranking, 10th affiliation, Janabi Guild Partner Hunter. The candidates are shocked to see her. One exclaims, "I thought we wouldn't get to see her. She went to Chiorwan to subjugate a corrosion rift." Another wonders if the Janabi Guild sent someone to scout in person. The crowd eagerly wonders who a top guild like Janabi could be scouting. The focus then shifts to a screen displaying the profile of Han Sang-ah, a highly touted Hunter Academy graduate whose awakened abilities are listed as electrokinesis and swordsmanship. Meanwhile, Lee Si-yoon reviews the candidate's file. Her subordinate B leans in and jokes, "With electrokinesis, she could probably charge batteries, right?" Unimpressed, Lee Si-yoon coolly retorts, "She's a hunter candidate, not a power generator." Subordinate B continues, saying that they say Han Sang-ah is quite skilled with her ability, so he's sure she'll be useful. Lee Si-yoon, however, remains unconvinced, replying with a cryptic "maybe, maybe not," which puzzles her subordinate. Getting worked up, Subordinate B raises his voice, exclaiming, "Hunting in corrosion rifts is real combat." Lee Si-yoon simply replies, unfazed, "Ah, you startled me." A male observer with spiky hair chimes in, agreeing that even if students excel at the academy, there are many cases where they don't achieve great results in actual combat. Lee Si-yoon, with a slight smirk, offers him a piece of candy, and he thanks her enthusiastically. A thought bubble illustrates the harsh reality. Practice and real combat are completely different. It's difficult for academy students, who have only had safe training, to endure the real thing, which is depicted as a terrifying scene with a monster. The thought concludes that it will take a long time for Han Sang-ah to adapt. The male observer wonders if the team leader knows he'll be away for a whole week. Just then, an announcement booms through the stadium. "Hunters, thank you for your patience. We will now begin the first match." With a confident smirk, Lee Si-yoon thinks to herself that one way or another, she has a job to do. She mentally addresses the candidates, challenging them. "Raise your value enough to make me want to take you." A commentator wearing a headset observes the arena with interest, remarking, "Oh ho, this candidate is quite interesting." The commentator notes that the candidate is a civilian who isn't even from the Hunter Academy, as a hand is shown gripping a weapon. The commentator continues, stating that this situation is unprecedented. Seeing the back of the candidate walking towards the brightly lit stage, the commentator wonders, what kind of guts does he have to stand on this stage? An announcer introduces him. "Here we have candidate Yu Chanseok." As he walks into the arena, Yu Chanseok thinks to himself with a weary expression, "I'm still not used to the new name." The rules of the match are announced over the stadium speakers. Personal weapons other than those provided by the association are not allowed, and inflicting life-threatening injuries is prohibited. In the arena, Yu Chanseok and his opponent face each other. With a serious expression, Yu Chanseok reaffirms his goals. "Since I've decided to become a hunter, the first thing I need to do is save this world that's destined to fall." He continues his internal monologue. "Simultaneously, I gotta live well and eat well." His opponent, the Spearmaster, smirks confidently, thinking, unbelievable. Yu Chanseok concludes his thought process. To achieve his goals, he needs to get good results in this tournament. The announcer calls both candidates to their positions. A referee raises his hand, signaling the start of the match. The referee yells, "Fight!" The spearmaster immediately leaps into action, his weapon blazing with fire. He laughs, mocking his opponent. "Ha ha ha! My opponent is someone who can't even gather mana." As the spearmaster charges, he yells, "Consider it an honor to lose to me." Yu Chanseok just looks on with a calm, determined expression. The spearmaster, boasting that he's the undefeated spearmaster of the Hunter Academy, unleashes a powerful, fiery attack. However, Yu Chanseok effortlessly dodges the attack with a simple sidestep, moving with incredible speed. The fiery spear smashes into the empty ground where Yu Chanseok was just standing. The spearmaster looks on in disbelief, exclaiming, "WH what?" The spearmaster looks around frantically, his eyes wide with shock. "He vanished," he thinks, then calls out, "Hey." Yu Chanseok suddenly appears right beside him, looking unimpressed. He casually comments, "You're pretty clumsy with that spear." Before the spearmaster can even react, Yu Chanseok closes the distance and delivers a swift, powerful blow to his stomach, the first in a rapid combination. The force of the impact knocks the spearmaster off his feet, as the air is visibly forced from his lungs, leaving him wide open for the next attack. Yu Chanseok continues his assault, landing another clean, powerful punch to the spearmaster's jaw. The force of the blow sends the spearmaster's head snapping back, his eyes rolling into his head as he loses consciousness. Yu Chanseok stands over his defeated opponent, feigning surprise. "W8 already?" he says aloud while thinking to himself. "I used my bare hands because I thought I'd hurt him pretty badly if I used a spear." With a nervous sweat drop, he thinks that his opponent's skill level is like a beginner's, which is actually shocking. He wonders to himself, "This can't be your average for hunters, can it?" Watching from the stands, Lee Si-yoon is momentarily speechless. She looks on with a shocked expression, thinking, "What's with that guy?" The male observer beside her is baffled, whispering that Yu Chanseok's previous job was at a logistics company. Lee Si-yoon observes keenly, nodding. He has almost no mana accumulated in his body. The male observer continues his faulty analysis, arguing that to generate that much power, one would need to accumulate mana over a long time. He concludes that since that's not the case, Yu Chanseok's victory must have been a fluke. Suddenly, a hand extends towards him, offering a single piece of candy. The male observer takes this as a sign from Lee Si-yoon telling him to shut up. But she corrects his assumption, stating plainly, "No, that guy is intentionally not accumulating mana." The male observer is stunned by this revelation, asking how that's even possible. Meanwhile, in the arena, Yu Chanseok rolls his neck, thinking, "It's a bit uncomfortable, but to prove my abilities, I should probably finish this decisively." The spearmaster, still conscious but defeated on the ground, looks up in terror at Yu Chanseok, stammering, "Og, why you? How?" As a blue aura begins to emanate from Yu Chanseok. Yu Chanseok looks down at his fallen opponent, his own hand glowing with power. He says reassuringly, "Don't worry, it won't be a fatal wound." The spearmaster's eyes widen in fear, only able to utter, "What?" before the final blow is delivered. The spearmaster lies completely knocked out, foaming at the mouth. A buzzer sounds, and the announcer declares, "The winner is candidate Yu Chanseok." The crowd in the stands erupts in disbelief, shocked by the swift and one-sided victory. A close-up of Lee Si-yoon's eye reveals her intrigue and sharp focus as she analyzes the outcome. The spectators continue to buzz with excitement and confusion over the unexpected result. A confident smirk appears on Lee Si-yoon's face. She thinks to herself, "While the others are busy evaluating him, I need to make my move. I want to see his real skills." She abruptly stands up to leave. Her subordinate B asks, "Where are you going?" She replies coolly, "I need to go see the association president." The scene flashes through Yu Chanseok's subsequent matches, where he effortlessly defeats opponent after opponent. He thinks to himself, "So weak. Even for rookies who just became hunters, aren't they just too weak?" As he dispatches another fighter, he continues his internal monologue, unimpressed. "No matter how many matches I fight, the guys coming out are all about the same level." He easily defeats a swordsman, knocking him into the air and thinking with disdain, "What on earth do they teach at this Hunter Academy?" A rustling sound from the audience signals a shift in attention. In the stands, the mood shifts as the next fighter is about to be introduced. One spectator notes her appearance, "Ooh, she's pretty," while another leans forward, his voice filled with anticipation for a real contest. "Finally, I'll get to see it." The moment the crowd has been waiting for arrives. The announcer's voice booms. "For the grand finale, it's candidate Han Sang-ah." She stands in the center of the arena, katana in hand, presented as the final challenger. The question hangs in the air. Can the Academy's top graduate finally stop the unstoppable march of the mysterious super rookie? Yu Chanseok looks at his opponent, Han Sang-ah, and thinks with a hint of acknowledgement. Oh, you're at least. Han Sang-ah exhales, her expression confident. Yu Chanseok finishes his thought. The one who's gathered the most mana out of everyone I've seen today. Han Sang-ah speaks first, taunting him. And yet you have nothing. You may have gotten this far by luck, but there will be no more flukes. Unimpressed, Yu Chanseok retorts. Is that generic line also something they teach at the Hunter Academy? She grips her katana, observing him. Seeing as you're just throwing punches, you must not have a unique skill. Her eyes glow with electric green energy as she declares. But that doesn't mean I'll go easy on you. Yu Chanseok gives a bland reply, well, thanks. Internally, however, he thinks, a unique skill. I have one, but I'm not using it because I think you'll get hurt if I do. A menacing, spectral figure looms behind him, hinting at his true power. Han Sang-ah takes a deep breath, preparing for battle. The announcer shouts, ready. As the announcer yells, fight! Han Sang-ah immediately unleashes her power, surrounding herself with crackling yellow lightning. She channels the electrical energy into her sheathed katana, preparing her signature move. Yu Chanseok's eyes widen in surprise as he senses the immense power she's gathering. In a flash of light, Han Sang-ah unleashes her attack, firing her electrified sword like a railgun. Han Sang-ah stares intently, fully expecting her powerful attack to annihilate her opponent. However, Yu Chanseok effortlessly dodges the blindingly fast attack by simply jumping high into the air. Han Sang-ah is left speechless, her eyes wide with disbelief. He dodged it, she thinks. He dodged lightning by just jumping. While flipping through the air, Yu Chanseok calmly analyzes her technique. Interesting. By running an electric current through the scabbard and blade, she made them magnetic. Then she added magnetic force to the power of drawing the sword, turning it into a railgun. He lands perfectly on the ground and lectures her. Yeah, your skills are definitely the best so far, but you missed the most important thing. Confused, Han Sang-ah asks, what? Yu Chanseok explains her tactical error. Thinking on when to attack, you were too focused on just attacking quickly. He continues his breakdown of her failed attack. Han Sang-ah's mistake was that, in order to accelerate the drawn sword even faster, she laid down a magnetic rail in the empty air. He finishes his critique with a condescending smile. No matter how fast and powerful it is, what kind of idiot would take an attack with a path that's in plain sight? Humiliated and enraged, Han Sang-ah glares at him and shouts, "Don't get cocky." She declares, "I can beat the likes of you even without using that technique," and lunges forward, her body once again crackling with electricity. Yu Chanseok sidesteps her attack with ease, thinking to himself, "Are you an idiot? I dodged your fastest attack, so there's no way I'd get hit by this." Growing more desperate, Han Sang-ah channels even more power, her eyes glowing intensely as electricity surges around her. She unleashes a massive, uncontrolled blast of electricity in a wide arc, trying to overwhelm him with raw power. Yu Chanseok gracefully leaps over the electrical field, observing her critically. She's overdoing it. She's forcing herself to scrape together mana. Yu Chanseok watches her, thinking with a hint of concern. If she keeps this up, her body's going to get wrecked. He closes the distance in an instant, appearing right in front of a surprised Han Sang-ah. "That was cool, but let's stop here," he says, ready to end the fight. With a condescending smirk, he tells her, "If it hurts, raise your left hand." He then unleashes a series of precise, lightning-fast strikes, targeting her vital points without using lethal force. Han Sang-ah can only grunt in pain, completely overwhelmed by the speed and precision of his attacks. He follows up with another swift strike, cracking his knuckles in preparation. He lands a solid punch to her midsection, knocking the wind out of her. He follows with a swift chop to the back of her neck. The final blow, a sharp uppercut, snaps her head back. Her eyes roll back into her head as she is knocked unconscious, blood trickling from her nose. She collapses to the ground, defeated, her katana clattering beside her. The crowd is stunned into silence. A spectator murmurs in disbelief. "No way!" He overwhelmed Han Sang-ah, the top student of the academy. Another adds, "Where did a guy like that come from?" Yu Chanseok casually adjusts his collar, thinking to himself, she was certainly more skilled than the other guys, but to go down from that, she must have relied on mana and neglected her physical training. He hears a faint and turns in surprise. No way is she up for more. A single, trembling hand is raised weakly into the air. The announcer rushes to the fallen Han Sang-ah, who is weakly holding up her left hand, just as Yu Chanseok had told her to. Yu Chanseok smirks, amused. "I told her to raise it, and she really did," he thinks to himself. As medical staff tend to the defeated Han Sang-ah, Yu Chanseok begins to walk away, the the match seemingly over. Suddenly, the announcer gets a message through his headset and exclaims in shock. What? He stands up and grabs the microphone, making a sudden declaration to the entire stadium. Attention! The tournament schedule has been changed. He addresses the winner. Winner Yu Chanseok, please take a short break. Yu Chanseok looks annoyed, thinking, a break? What are you talking about? Wasn't it over? The announcer drops the bombshell. In a moment, winner Yu Chanseok and an active hunter will have a special match. The crowd reacts with shock, and a silhouette of a female hunter with a sword flashes on screen. He explains, by special permission of the association president, this match has been arranged. Please give it your enthusiastic support. In the stands, Lee Si-yoon's subordinates react. In the end, she went and did it. One thinks, confirming Lee Si-yoon is the instigator. The announcer adds that the opponent has been announced on the monitor. The crowd erupts in cheers. Hearing their reaction, Yu Chanseok surmises, judging by these reactions, they must be a pretty skilled hunter. Yu Chanseok's eyes narrow in understanding. A special match. Did she step up herself to test my abilities? He thinks, realizing that just like in his old world, the powerful are always testing the up-and-comers. A massive sword slams into the arena floor in front of Yu Chanseok. A voice confirms his name. Your name is Yu Chanseok, right? The owner of the voice steps forward, her long black hair flowing. It's Lee Si-yoon. She apologizes, sorry for showing up without any warning. It seems there was no other way to confirm your skills. She stands confidently, holding her enormous blade, and formally introduces herself. I'm Lee Si-yoon of Janabi Guild. With a captivating, almost predatory smile, she issues the challenge. It seems like the stage has been too small for you until now. How about a match with me, Yu Chanseok? She gives him an out, adding, you can refuse if it's too much. I'd understand since it was so sudden. But Yu Chanseok recognizes the name instantly, thinking, Lee Si-yoon. She's ranked 10th in the World Hunter rankings. He analyzes the situation, sensing the immense aura and composure she radiates. Plus, the aura and composure coming from her body right now, it's not a bluff, she's a real pro. He also acknowledges his current limitations. In my current body, it'll be tough even with a spear. Despite the immense challenge, a confident, eager smirk spreads across his face as he thinks. But he gives his answer without hesitation. All right, let's do it now. The announcer is flabbergasted, stammering, all right now you mean. Yu Chanseok coolly explains, to be honest, I haven't used up much stamina so far. He then adds in his thoughts, also, I think I might be able to see it. Lee Si-yoon smirks back, intrigued. You're fired up, aren't you? As the defeated Han Sang-ah is carried off on a stretcher, Yu Chanseok reaffirms his decision. If I have to fight her anyway, this is for the best. Get the best possible results in the tournament. He sees this unexpected challenge not as a threat, but as a golden opportunity. As a weapon is brought into the arena, he thinks, she's the perfect opponent for that. Yu Chanseok picks up a spear, a fierce and determined grin spreading across his face. He readies himself for the battle, thinking, let's see. Shall I raise my value? In the final round of the Hunter Selection Tournament, the clash on stage sends a shockwave through the audience, with spectators flinching at the sheer force of the impact. Even the commentators are on the edge of their seats, sweating as they witness the unprecedented intensity of the battle. On the stage, Lee Si-yoon, a hunter from the Janabi Guild, swings her massive scythe with deadly precision and a focused gaze. Her opponent, Yu Chanseok, grunts as he parries the heavy blow, the impact creating sparks between their weapons. Struggling against her strength, he can't help but wonder, how can a woman's body have this much power? Lee Si-yoon gives him no time to recover, immediately pressing her advantage with another powerful swing of her scythe. She follows up with a swift, powerful kick that sends Yu Chanseok flying across the arena floor. As the fight drags on, Lee Si-yoon observes her opponent keenly. She internally notes, compared to the beginning, his speed has dropped considerably. Yu Chanseok, panting and sweating, realizes his disadvantage. Damn it! It's not that there are no openings, this body just doesn't have the physical ability to exploit them. Lee Si-yoon stands confidently before him. I was hopping for a good warm-up, but are you tired already? Still, you did well. I thought you'd last about 5 minutes, not 30 straight. She takes a determined step forward, the ground cracking slightly under her foot. Raising her weapon once more, she declares, so now I'll make it easy for you. Yu Chanseok assesses his rapidly depleting energy. I have practically no mana stored up, and there's not much mana in the atmosphere either. He takes a sharp breath, his body covered in scratches and bruises, clearly reaching his physical limit. As Lee Si-yoon leaps into the air for a finishing blow, he makes a decision. I didn't want to use it, but I guess I have to. His eyes flash with a golden light as he unleashes his hidden power, crying out its name. Paradox Flame. The sudden surge of a new, strange energy from her opponent makes Lee Si-yoon's eyes widen in shock. The black flames erupt from Yu Chan-seok, effortlessly repelling her attack and shattering the ground around them. He lands gracefully, the strange power swirling around him, while Lee Si-yoon is pushed back by the force. Lee Si-yoon stares in disbelief. I definitely swung with enough force that he shouldn't have been able to dodge. Yu Chan-seok is now wreathed in an aura of black, ethereal flames. Lee Si-yoon demands, "What is that?" He calmly exhales a puff of the black flame, answering her question. Paradox Flame. He elaborates with a detached confidence. It's my specialty that I used constantly before returning to Earth. I trust this power the most. He gestures towards his clothes, licked by the dark aura but completely undamaged. As you can tell from my unscathed clothes, he explains calmly, this black flame cannot burn matter. Instead, he continues, the strange energy swirling around him, each of these flames burns using the abstract concepts I've designated as fuel. With my current output, I can't burn concepts with high ignition points like self, memory, or reason. Yu Chan-seok dashes forward, his body renewed with energy as he continues his explanation. So the concept I'll burn right now is... Lee Si-yoon's eyes widen as she struggles to track his movements, shocked by his sudden recovery. You've gotten faster, she thinks. As he launches himself into the air, his weapon poised to strike, Yu Chan-seok reveals the source of his renewed vigor. Fatigue. Lee Si-yoon is astonished by this unbelievable turn of events. You recovered in that short time? She wonders. The battle resumes, but the roles have reversed. Yu Chan-seok is now on the offensive, effortlessly parrying Lee Si-yoon's attacks. Lee Si-yoon analyzes the bizarre phenomenon. What's this? The concentration of mana in the air keeps fluctuating. The arena settings haven't changed. Could it be? Yu Chan-seok further explains his ability. Just as fire releases heat when it burns matter, Paradox Flame also releases mana as it burns abstract concepts. He describes the mechanics of his power. I use mana to ignite the Paradox Flame, and in turn, the Paradox Flame burns my fatigue to generate more mana. With a firm stomp that cracks the ground, he concludes, it's an endless cycle. Now completely overwhelming his opponent, he continues his internal monologue. In other words, my specialty is... He forces Lee Si-yoon back, her defense crumbling under his relentless assault. Pushed into a corner and barely holding on, she asks, are you going to keep this up? He doesn't let up, pressing his attack like a predator that refuses to let its prey escape. With a devilish smile, he reveals his strategy. A war of attrition. I can still keep going, you know. He flashes a smug grin, taunting her. By any chance, do you like guys who don't know when to quit? Gritting her teeth in frustration, Lee Si-yoon snaps back. No, I absolutely hate them. A narrator explains the limits of this power. Just as fire leaves behind unburnable ash, the Paradox Flame also leaves a residue. Once everything is burned to ash, the Paradox Flame will disappear. A thought bubble notes a specific time, 4 hours and 17 minutes. Suddenly, the fight is over. Yu Chan-seok lies on the ground, comically forfeiting. Lee Si-yoon asks if he wants more, but he begs for mercy. The stadium announcer declares the official result. With candidate Yu Chan-seok's forfeit, Hunter Lee Si-yoon is the victor. As a prize, Lee Si-yoon casually pulls out a massive red-and-white lollipop. In the stands, the commentators who had been watching the fight are utterly baffled by this development, shouting, "That lollipop!" She offers the candy to him with a smile. "Here, this is for your hard work. I put my business card in there with it." He takes it and reads the details. Lee Si-yoon, Janabi LLC, Team 3 partner Hunter. She gives him a charming look. We'll talk about the details later. For now, just give me a call. The intense Hunter selection trials finally concluded. The announcer's voice boomed across the stadium, calling the winner Yu Chan-seok to the stage to accept his award. But amidst the noise, a specific name caught his attention. Janabi, he wondered internally. Is that a Hunter's agency? Later, Yu Chan-seok enjoys the spoils of his defeat, munching on the lollipop given to him by Lee Si-yoon. He examines the smartphone he received. This smartphone has a Hunter license on it. Look at this technology. Back in my day, they just gave you a piece of paper. He reads through the features. Community, market, notices, and even a military satellite connection. He's impressed. It really has everything. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him. Hunter Yu Chan-seok, right? He turns to see a massively built man with a confident smirk. You look much better in person than on camera. the man says, stepping towards him. Yu Chanseok is taken aback by the man's sheer size, thinking, he's super tall, must be over 2 meters. He asks, yes, but who are you? The man replies, here, my business card. Yu Chanseok reads the card. Yoon Seong-hyun, partner hunter, Tbik LLC? The man clarifies, to be precise, I'm Yoon Seong-hyun, a partner hunter from the Tbik Guild. I'll keep it short. Come to Tbik, to be exact, my team. Yoon Seong-hyun continues his pitch. If you gain enough experience under me, you'll definitely shine. Yu Chanseok internally notes, he doesn't seem to be lying. As Yu Chanseok considers the offer, he's startled by a memory of Lee Si-yoon's face popping into his mind, reminding him of her words. Here's my number. Call me. He politely deflects Yoon Seong-hyun's offer. I have a prior engagement, so I can't give him a firm answer. I'll think about it a little more before making a decision. Yoon Seong-hyun lets out a hearty laugh. Did you think I was going to demand an answer right here and now? However, he leans in close, his hand gripping Yu Chanseok's shoulder with surprising strength. With an intimidating grin, he adds a veiled threat. You better think this through properly. Yoon Seong-hyun then turns and walks away, casually saying, see you around. Yu Chanseok is left speechless for a moment. As soon as the intimidating hunter is gone, Yu Chanseok makes a firm decision, his face showing clear aversion. I'm definitely skipping Tbik. Just then, his phone starts to ring. The call connects. From an empty classroom, a voice says, yes, this is Lee Si-yoon. On the other end, Yu Chanseok replies, this is Yu Chanseok, where should I come? She gives him directions. I'm at the hut on the 2nd floor of the Hunter Association building. I'll send you the location, come here. Yu Chanseok arrives, pondering the unusual name of the cafe, the hut. Inside, a cheerful barista with a braided ponytail and a warm smile greets him enthusiastically. Welcome to the hut. From a nearby table, Lee Si-yoon waves him over. You're here early. Welcome, have a seat. As he walks towards her table, he comments, the cafe's name is unusual. She gets straight to the point, asking, did something happen? He sits down and explains, one person tried to recruit me for a guild. A really huge guy. An ominous shadow of the massive hunter appears as Lee Si-yoon identifies him. Yoon Seong-hyun of Tbik. Since Yoon Seong-hyun himself showed interest in you, the other guilds wouldn't have even dared to make an offer. Yu Chanseok smirks, seeing a contradiction. Doesn't that mean it's the same for Janabi? Lee Si-yoon calmly takes a bite of her dessert and shocks him with her reply. I have no intention of recruiting you. Yu Chanseok is confused. What, then why? She proposes an alternative. How about working without being affiliated with a guild? As a freelancer, I mean. This idea piques his interest. I don't have to belong to a guild, he thinks. Lee Si-yoon continues, stirring her drink. Yoon Seong-hyun was probably going to offer you a junior position. Yu Chanseok is unfamiliar with the term. Junior position. He asks for clarification. What's a junior and what's a partner hunter? Lee Si-yoon remembers his unique background. That's right, you said you weren't from the Hunter Academy, didn't you? She begins to explain the guild hierarchy. The ranks for hunters belonging to a guild are usually divided into 3, junior, senior, and partner. She lays out the structure with a chart. Juniors and seniors belong to teams led by partner hunters. You can think of them as salaried employees. She then explains her own rank. Partner hunters have shares in the guild instead of a salary. They share the net profits the guild earns. It might be easier to think of them as business owners. Yu Chanseok immediately makes a connection. That sounds exactly like a law firm. Lee Si-yoon confirms, right. I've heard that the hunter who first established the guilds used law firms as a model. She clarifies an important point. You don't necessarily have to belong to a guild and go through the junior and senior ranks to become a partner hunter. A smile creeps onto Yu Chanseok's face as he understands. I think I get it. If I become famous and achieve respectable results, they'll automatically come looking for me. Exactly, she exclaims, pushing another piece of candy towards him. He wonders, why does she keep giving me candy? He brings up a valid concern. But since I have no connections and no experience, it'll be hard for me to get any proper requests. With a cunning smile, Lee Si-yoon makes her move. I'll help you with that, free of charge. Yu Chanseok is suspicious of her generosity, munching on the candy she gave him. I don't understand why you do this much for me. She reveals her true intention. In the future, when you've built up enough of a reputation, I just want you to think, that's right, there was a place called Janabi. He immediately understands. So you're putting me in your debt. She slides a manila envelope across the table. Want to take a look at this, though it's your choice whether you do it or not. What's this? He asks, pulling out the documents. She explains, it's a request from Incheon City. There's a place called Jayadongdo Island where a corrosion zone formed 2 years ago after a failed attempt to eliminate a corrosion rift. He looks at the documents, which include a map and details in a cryptic script. So I just have to go and get rid of this corrosion rift? She corrects him. No, you'll be patrolling Jayadongdo Island to see if any additional corrosion rifts have appeared and get rid of them. He reads the mission details aloud. Starts in 1 month. 5 million won up front with an additional 15 million upon success. He drops the papers on the table, unimpressed. Considering this is a life-threatening job, the pay isn't exactly that great. Lee Si-yoon smiles slyly. If it feels unfair, then get stronger and become famous. Money will flow in your pockets even if they're full. She puts him on the spot. So, your answer? He looks at her with a serious expression. After a moment of consideration, he gives his answer. I will do it. Later, Lee Si-yoon is in a car on the phone with her boss. The boss asks, he's good. What kind of guy is he? She reports back, yes, his name is Yu Chan-seok. He's a civilian. He cleared a weapons mandatory tournament with his bare hands. Her boss simply replies, not bad. In the car with her subordinates, Lee Si-yoon corrects her boss over the phone. Not bad isn't the right phrase. I practically spoon-fed him openings, she explains, before emphatically stating to everyone listening. And he still lasted 4 whole hours against me. Her boss remains skeptical. Really? Isn't that just because you limited your power? She firmly refutes this, grounding her assessment in her hard-won expertise. Boss, I'm a veteran hunter with 10 years of experience. She continues, looking out over the city. All of my experience has been built upon surviving hellish places. Normally, I should have been able to toy with him, but 4 hours. My God. As the scene shifts to a view of Jayadongdo Island, her internal monologue concludes with a chilling assessment. Even if I were reborn, I doubt I'd ever see another monster like him. The boss's voice continues over the phone, expressing doubt as we see a shot of hunters gathering on the island's shore. But no matter how highly you rate him, he raises a valid point about the mission's prerequisites. Didn't the Jayadongdo Island mission specifically request hunters with prior mission experience? The boss continues. His skills may be excellent, but will he be able to hold his weight teaming up with veteran hunters? Gripping the hilt of her sword, Lee Si-yoon confidently reassures him. If that's the concern, don't worry, boss, because I've paired him up with someone reliable. The scene reveals a determined-looking female hunter with short white hair. The boss concedes. All right, you're the brains of the operation here at Janabi, so I'll trust you. The boss poses one last question. That kid, what do you think he'll be like if he reaches your level? Lee Si-yoon smirks and replies, you might not like to hear this, but as an image of Yu Chan-seok walking away with his weapon appears, she continues her bold prediction. If Yu Chan-seok reaches my level, he'll be able to take you down as well, boss. The chapter concludes with a close-up of Yu Chan-seok's intense and determined gaze, hinting at the immense potential within him. The story flashes back to 1 month ago. A delivery man struggles with a large, heavy package, trying to find the correct apartment. 1506. Apartment 1506, he mutters. He rings the doorbell, sweating from the effort. Ugh, this is heavy as hell. What did they order? He thinks to himself. Having completed the delivery, the man moves on, checking his list. The next package is for. The door to apartment 1506 creaks open, and a voice from inside says, it's here. Inside, Yu Chan-seok sits before the large case that was just delivered, looking at it with a contemplative expression. He thinks it's, unbelievably, long. With a click, he unlatches the case. His eye widens with excitement and anticipation as he looks inside. Yu Chan-seok lifts a formidable-looking spear from the case, a satisfied smile on his face. The spear should be fine with this. He then presents a small bottle filled with a glowing green liquid. And this is the elixir. An explanation follows. An elixir is a potion that hunters use in emergencies. It contains condensed mana, which is really helpful when mana is urgently needed. The scene explains the typical way of handling mana, which is similar to drinking water from a purifier. You control the mana in the atmosphere, store it in your body, and use it when needed. The elixir allows you to do that process in a short period of time. Yu Chan-seok internally monologues, though I use mana in a different way than others. An illustration shows how he skips the storage process, instead directly absorbing and using mana from the atmosphere. He continues his thought, explaining that the advantage of his method is that there's no limit since he uses the mana in the air. This is accompanied by an image of him unleashing a powerful attack. He elaborates that in the process of taking mana in and letting it out, the mana channels it passes through gradually strengthen, allowing for the use of more mana. He considers the downside. Until his mana channels grow, the amount he can handle is small, making it difficult to produce a strong output quickly. He opens the elixir thinking, since I don't have time to wait right now, it seems best to store some of it before using it. Looking out his window at the city below, Yu Chanseok holds up the elixir with determination. If I train with this for about a month, I should be able to grow just as much as I need. The scene shifts to the present day, showing an establishing shot of Inchin's Jayadongdo Island. A crowd of people, presumably hunters, are gathered and murmuring amongst themselves. Someone scans a QR code on a smartphone, likely for identification. A staff member checks his clipboard and confirms the identity. Identity confirmed. Hunter Yu Chanseok, you're in Squad B. A weathered sign shows the number 8, indicating the designated area for the squad. Yu Chanseok stands among the other hunters who are making small talk. When do we leave? One asks. This month's pay should be pretty good, says another. Others mention being scared or sleepy, while someone asks if this is indeed squad number 8. Suddenly, someone calls out his name, Yu Chanseok. He turns in surprise. The person who called him is Han Sanga, a woman with short silver hair and a sword. She remarks on his hair, saying, "Your hair." It seems to have settled down. She quickly clarifies, "This is my normal hair. It was just static electricity back then." Han Sanga then suggests, "Anyway, we're in the same squad. That's great. Let's work together during this mission." Unimpressed, Yu Chanseok gives her a cold, sideways glance and asks bluntly, "Why should I?" Han Sanga clarifies her reason for wanting to team up, stating, "Because you're stronger than me. I think I can watch and learn from you." However, her internal thought reveals her sarcasm. "Oh, my shoulders are about to fall off from awe. How embarrassing, so embarrassing." Taking her words literally, Yu Chanseok asks with genuine concern, "Do your shoulders dislocate often? Chronic dislocation. That's really dangerous. What's a spear user like you going to do?" Han Sanga mentally clicks her tongue, thinking, "You should take better care of yourself." Tusk, and adds, "It's like that time during the match. This kid has no sense of humor." A man with glasses, the squad leader, calls out to the group, "Your attention, please." From a higher deck, the squad leader addresses the assembled members below. "Squad B, since everyone has gathered, we will now have a briefing on the mission." The squad leader continues, "We also have hunters who are participating for the first time, so I will explain the terminologies as well. I ask for your kind understanding." Han Sanga glances sideways at Yu Chanseok, wondering, "Is he talking about me?" He begins to explain the mission basics. Corrosion rifts are classified as Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and unclassified. The closer the rift is to Class 1, the more dangerous it is. He adds, "Additionally, the first corrosion rift to appear in a specific area is given the additional name, Alpha." The briefing continues with a warning. Currently, the location of the Alpha corrosion rift on Jayadongdo Island is the church in the northern part of Insarai. Although it is still an unclassified corrosion rift, considering the characteristic of corrosion rifts getting stronger over time, we kindly ask that you refrain from approaching it. The squad leader defines their objective. "Our mission is to patrol Upnirai and Jayadongmyeon to identify and eliminate any additional corrosion rifts that may have appeared." Two other hunters express their skepticism. One with brown hair speaks to his companion, who wears a beanie, an elimination mission for a squad with a rookie. As their vessel approaches the shore, the squad leader announces, You've already arrived. This is Jayadongdo Island." Staring at the island, Yu Chanseok remains silent, but his internal monologue is serious. "I can feel the chilling energy even from here. It feels like my blood is turning cold." Despite his inner feelings, Yu Chanseok maintains a deadpan expression and thinks, "They're all being so dramatic." He and Han Sang then walk onto the deck. A button on a communication device is pressed with a beep. The squad leader provides a final instruction. "The situation on the island is being briefed to the offshore control room, so if you need help, please contact them." He concludes the briefing with a simple, "Hunters, I wish you all the best." Now on the island, the squad leader begins to outline the plan. "All right, first, the plan is, it seems we'll need to scout the two areas over the course of a week." Yu Chanseok listens from the edge of the group. The squad leader looks toward a hunter with spiky blonde hair, who seems confused and questions the plan. Yu Chanseok interrupts, holding up his phone to show a map. "Let's set up a base at Hwajiesa Temple and operate from there." The other hunters are taken aback by his forwardness. The squad leader snickers while the hunter with the beanie confronts him directly. "Who are you? I haven't seen you before. Are you a rookie? More importantly, why are we going to Hwajiesa Temple?" Yu Chanseok calmly lays out his strategy. From Hwagyesa Temple, you can see Upnirai, and from the peak of Hwagyesan, you can see Jayadongmyeon directly. The old temple building is still there, so we can also use it for lodging. Isn't it obvious? The squad leader and the hunter with the beanie angrily object. There are plenty of places to stay nearby, one shouts. What if we get surrounded after needlessly climbing a mountain? The other adds. Yu Chanseok retorts with disdain. We're not fighting thousands of enemies. How can you possibly get surrounded there? Geez. The hunter with the beanie shouts. Anyway, I'm not following the orders of some inexperienced hunter. Yu Chanseok gives an exasperated look and thinks, ha, idiots who defy logic exist in every world I see. Looking towards the forest path, Yu Chanseok gives them an ultimatum. Then, why don't you just act separately? Without waiting for a reply, Yu Chanseok turns away from the main group and takes a decisive step into the forest. He immediately breaks into a run. He is quickly joined by Han Sang-ah, and surprisingly, the brown-haired hunter who had been with the dissenters follows as well, forming a splinter group of 3 as they disappear into the trees. As they run, Yu Chanseok thinks to himself, sizing up their new companion. I expected Han Sang-ah to follow, but who is this guy? His mana is slightly higher than Han Sang-ah's. Yu Chanseok stops and turns to the brown-haired hunter, who is startled by the sudden halt. You said your name is Kim Min-ji, right? I'm curious why you followed us. Kim Min-ji explains, isn't this the first time for both of you? I was worried about letting 2 rookies act on their own. Yu Chanseok offers a slight smile and replies, thank you for your consideration. He thinks, so there's at least one decent person here. Suddenly, Yu Chanseok's eyes widen as he senses danger ahead. He digs his heel into the ground, coming to an abrupt stop. He throws a hand up, signaling for the others to stop. Wait, he commands. Han Sang-ah and Kim Min-ji look shocked. As Kim Min-ji starts to ask, Yu Chanseok SSI? Yu Chanseok brings a finger to his lips, hushing him. Be quiet and have a peek over the other side, he whispers. Kim Min-ji is confused. Kim Min-ji cautiously peers from behind a large rock, his eyes widening in shock and fear at what he sees. In the clearing below, a massive horde of goblin-like corrosion creatures are gathered. Panicked, Kim Min-ji ducks back behind the rock. We should take a detour. There are too many, at least 50 of them. Yu Chanseok remains calm and asks, calm down. Hunter Kim Min-ji, what's your unique skill? Kim Min-ji reacts with disbelief. What? Are you thinking of fighting them? Yu Chanseok's gaze intensifies. Isn't it natural for a hunter to fight corrosion creatures? I'll ask again. What's your unique skill? A footnote provides context. A corrosion creature is a monster from a corrosion rift. Intimidated, Kim Min-ji answers, it's flame. Yu Chanseok presses for more detail. What's the skill you're most confident in? Kim Min-ji specifies, fireball. Without hesitation, Yu Chanseok gives his first order. Good, then on my signal, please attack first. Kim Min-ji is flabbergasted, exclaiming, what? Kim Min-ji looks to their other companion for support, his expression desperate. What should I do? Han Sang-ah SSI, you too. He argues with Yu Chanseok. It's reckless to face 50 of them with just the 3 of us. Besides, didn't you say this was your first mission? Kim Min-ji suggests an alternative. We should radio the other hunters while we still can. Yu Chanseok immediately shuts him down. They won't arrive in time. A map illustrates their strategic disadvantage. Unlike us, who departed directly from Hwagyesa Temple, the other hunters are currently searching along the coast. Yu Chanseok explains the flaws in waiting for backup. It's reckless to radio them because there's no guarantee the hunters who hear the radio will arrive, and if these things scatter while we wait, they could become a threat to the other hunters. Kim Min-ji slowly begins to understand the logic. He thinks, he's right, even if there happens to be a hunter nearby. A flashback shows the earlier argument with the squad leader. Kim Min-ji finishes his thought. They might not come right away because of the earlier conflict. Yu Chanseok states their only option. That means we have to deal with them. In this relatively disadvantageous situation, what we need to do is land a surprise attack. He quickly draws a simple diagram in the dirt with his spear. There's no time, so I'll explain immediately. Min-ji SSI, you'll first attack the center with a fireball and I'll block the sides. Yu Chanseok finishes laying out the strategy. Han Sang-ah, you will, and that's the plan. Han Sang-ah agrees without hesitation. Got it. Kim Min-ji is left in awe, his mind reeling from the display of tactical genius. Such a detailed strategy. He's anticipating every possibility. Why do I get the feeling that he's experienced this kind of battle countless times? Who in the world is he? The horde of corrosion creatures stands unaware. The silence before the storm. At Yu Chanseok's signal, Kim Min-ji springs into action, shouting now. as he unleashes a fireball. The blazing fireball streaks towards the unsuspecting creatures, one of whom looks up just in time to see its doom approaching. The spell explodes in the center of the horde, engulfing the creatures in a fiery blast as they shriek in pain. As Yu Chanseok charges forward, Kim Minji yells, "I need a moment before I can fire the next fireball." Yu Chanseok calmly replies over his shoulder, "Got it. Shoot as soon as you're ready." Stealing his resolve, Kim Minji confirms, "Yes, understood," as he begins gathering magical energy for another attack. Yu Chanseok dashes into the fray, a blur of motion as he closes the distance to the remaining monsters. His eyes narrow with focus as he reveals his core philosophy in an internal monologue. "I prioritize efficiency in battle." He becomes a whirlwind of spear strikes, effortlessly weaving through the chaotic battlefield. To achieve maximum efficiency, dividing roles is essential. A snarling corrosion creature lunges at him with razor-sharp claws. As he fights, Yu Chanseok lays out his part of the plan in his mind. "Until the next fireball is ready, I'll take care of the other ones so they can't get close to Kim Minji." He acknowledges his own limitations even as he cuts down another foe. "Of course, I can't block all of them by myself." A slight smile touches his lips as his strategy unfolds perfectly. That's why dividing the roles is important. Just as a monster breaks through Yu Chanseok's defense, Hansanga draws her katana with a sharp click. She unleashes a powerful slash of electricity, intercepting and destroying the creature that was about to ambush Yu Chanseok. With electricity still crackling around her blade, Hansanga stands ready, having flawlessly executed her defensive role. His spell fully charged, Kim Minji calls out from a safe distance, "Chanseok SSI, I'm ready." With a confident grin, Yu Chanseok yells back the final command for the pincer attack. "I'll get out of the way. Shoot." Kim Minji leaps high into the air, launching his second, more powerful fireball down onto the remaining creatures. The attack lands with devastating force, creating a massive explosion that tears through the forest and the rest of the monster horde. Yu Chanseok lands softly, gripping his spear as the smoke from the explosion begins to clear. His eyes glint with cold fury as he spots two survivors trying to escape. "Kill them both," he roars. The heavy thud of a body hitting the forest floor echoes through the clearing. A defeated corrosion creature lies motionless on the ground, slain. Yu Chanseok stands tall amidst the battlefield, his jacket fluttering as he surveys the aftermath of their perfectly executed plan. Yu Chanseok turns to his teammates, a hint of satisfaction on his face as he begins to praise them. "Everyone did a good," he starts to say, but is cut off by the distinct metallic click of a gun being cocked right behind him. The scene is plunged into darkness, focusing entirely on Kim Minji, whose previously fearful expression has been replaced by a cold, determined glare as he points a gun directly at the person who just saved him. Yu Chanseok can only say his name in stunned disbelief. "Kim Minji SSI." After the battle, Yu Chanseok looks back at his teammates and says, "Good work, everyone." Suddenly, Kim Minji points a gun at him. Confused by the reaction, Chanseok asks, "Kim Minji SSI." Minji lowers his gun with an embarrassed smile as Chanseok calmly asks him to step aside. Minji thinks to himself, "Geez, why did he suddenly pull out the strap? I thought he was going to shoot me." The strap is revealed to be a tagging device, which Chanseok implants into the monster's corpse. The female hunter asks, "Are you implanting a microchip?" Minji, who is doing the work, replies, "Yes, once the mission is over and the area is secured, the junk dealer I have a contract with will come and collect them." Chanseok asks, "Junk dealer?" Minji explains, "It's hard for us to recover the byproducts from the corpses ourselves. They're bulky and heavy, you know." He continues with an illustration. "So if you tag them with chips like this, the junk dealers will come by after the mission is over and collect anything that looks valuable." Another diagram shows how the system works. Then they appraise the items, sell them, and split the profits. They take their commission based on the contract, and the rest goes back to the hunter who implanted the chip. Chanseok questions the system's reliability, asking, "Can you trust them?" Minji replies, "That's why it's important to find a good junk dealer and sign a contract." Changing the subject, Minji praises Chanseok. "Anyway, you were amazing, Chanseok SSI. To think the three of us could handle so of them. I never even imagined." But his praise is cut short as he notices something in the distance. Without warning, a huge monster crashes down. Chanseok acts instantly, pushing Minji out of the way of the devastating blow. After pushing him to safety, Chanseok lands and immediately checks on his teammate, asking, "Are you okay?" Kim Minji, still on the ground, looks up in shock and asks, "What is it now?" as the team regroups to face the new threat. A horrifying, wide grin filled with sharp teeth appears from the shadows, signaling a much more dangerous foe. Chanseok's eye narrows as he assesses the new enemy. Looks like a large, muscular monster with red, bat-like horns reveals itself, radiating a powerful aura. Chanseok finishes his thought. It's some kind of mid-boss. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Chanseok grits his teeth and mutters, "Damn it." The monster lets out a low growl. Chanseok analyzes the threat, thinking, is this the leader of those things from before? He senses the immense power difference. On top of that, the amount of mana it's giving off. It's on a completely different level from those small fries. He makes a decision and yells, "I'll handle this. Do not interfere." The female hunter starts to object, "But we can't just." While a worried Kim Min-ji quickly forms a plan, "We should buy time with a pincer attack, fall back, and report the situation." He thinks to himself that if the monster is after all three of them, the other two wouldn't be able to escape. Chanseok furiously rejects their plan, screaming at them, "Stop talking and get back. Do you want to go home in a body bag?" His teammates are stunned into silence, shocked by his violent outburst and the sheer intensity of his command. Standing alone with his spear, Chanseok thinks, "It's actually better that I handle this alone. I can use Paradox Flame without worrying about friendly fire and finish this as quickly as possible." With cold determination, Chanseok faces the mid-boss, taunting it to begin the fight. "Come on, you bat bastard." The battle immediately begins. From afar, it looks like a chaotic clash, with huge bursts of energy erupting from their confrontation. Watching from a safe distance, the female hunter asks with concern, "Shouldn't we be helping him?" Kim Min-ji agrees, adding, "He looks like he's in trouble." However, the female hunter, observing more closely, interjects, "There's no need." Min-ji continues to voice his concern, saying, "It might look like you Chanseok is getting pushed back." She finishes her thought as they watch Chanseok effortlessly evade the monster's strikes. But he hasn't been hit even once. With a sharp, analytical gaze, she continues, "And it's not just that." She marvels at his skill. "Those are attacks that I would have struggled just to dodge, but he's dodging and attacking at the same time." She notices the strange black flames emanating from his weapon. What's more is that when his spear lands a strike, black flames appear each time. What in the world is that? She observes the effect of this mysterious power on the beast. As the flame output increases, the monster gets much slower. The realization of Chanseok's true power dawns on her. At first, it looked like Yu Chanseok was struggling, but now he's toying with the monster. The female hunter is completely dumbfounded, breaking into a nervous sweat. She thinks, is he really a rookie hunter like me? How is this even possible? Back in the fight, Chanseok easily sidesteps a clumsy attack from the now sluggish monster. He spins around the monster, his spear glowing with dark energy, preparing for a decisive blow. He grips his spear tightly, ready to unleash his next move. In a surprising move, Chanseok hurls his spear high up into the sky. The female hunter's eyes widen in disbelief as she cries out, "The spear!" The spear hangs motionless in the air, high above the battlefield, poised directly over the monster. Kim Min-ji is equally shocked by the seemingly reckless action, exclaiming, "He threw it." Seeing Chanseok now unarmed, the monster lunges forward to attack. Min-ji screams a warning, "You Chanseok SSI, watch out." The monster's giant, toothy maw closes in on Chanseok, who stands his ground without a weapon. Despite the immense danger, Chanseok remains perfectly calm, not even flinching as the beast attacks. Suddenly, the spear that was thrown into the air plummets down, impaling the monster through the back of its head. Chanseok stands over the fallen beast, which is pinned to the ground by his spear. He remarks, "To think it can still move after I've burned all of its strength." His eyes narrow, filled with a cold resolve. He decides, "I'll have to finish it off for good." His teammates look on, completely stunned and speechless at the incredible display of power and strategy. Min-ji tries to process what just happened, his mind reeling. No way! It definitely looked like Hunter Yu Chanseok was getting pushed back. But now the monster is down. What in the world happened? His shock turns to a dawning horror about the nature of their mission. Having dealt with the threat, Chanseok calmly retrieves his spear and calls out to his dazed teammate, "Kim Min-ji SSI." Snapping out of his trance, Min-ji quickly responds, "Ah, yes," ready to voice the terrifying question that has just formed in his mind. Min-ji looks at the massive corpse and asks Chanseok, "Is it normal for a monster like this to appear on Jayadongdo Island?" The female hunter answers, I was wondering that too, for an entity that isn't even the core of the corrosion rift. It could be possible if this were a corrosion zone with a rift that was at least rated grade 3. Chanseok recalls the different tiers of corrosion rifts. He thinks to himself, during the pre-mission briefing, I definitely heard that the Alpha Corrosion Rift on Jayadongdo Island was unclassified. He states his conclusion grimly. In that case, it seems the Alpha Corrosion Rift on Jayadongdo Island has gone up to Grade 3. His teammates are shocked into silence. The female hunter protests, but at the briefing, Chanseok cuts her off. Think about it rationally. If it's not Grade 3, there's no other way to explain this situation. The reality of the situation hits Kim Min-ji and he panics. Wait a minute. The difference between an unclassified rift and a Grade 3 one is like night and day. If that's true then. He looks out at the vast, dark island, realizing the terrifying implication for everyone else deployed there. The number of hunters who can make it back alive will be close to none. In a desperate plea, Min-ji turns to Chanseok. You Chanseok SSI, let's go save the other hunters. With your skills, even a Grade 3. But Chanseok bluntly shuts him down. I reject. Min-ji is stunned by his cold refusal. What? Why? Chanseok coolly replies, how am I supposed to save every hunter wandering this island by myself? I have my limits too. If I can't do something, I can't. He continues his pragmatic lecture. Our mission isn't to save hunters in peril, it's to identify and eliminate any new corrosion rifts that have appeared. Plus, when you're doing this kind of work, you can't expect everyone to come out alive. The female hunter decides to challenge his logic. You Chanseok, let me ask you something. What if you were in that situation? Chanseok responds with a simple, what? She presses him, wouldn't you feel it was unfair, feel resentful, and beg to be saved? Chanseok concedes the point. Naturally. Before turning her question back on her. So, naturally, I should feel compassion and go save them. His expression darkens intensely as he clarifies his stance. I'm not saying this because I don't understand the emotions people would feel. I'm talking about the outcome. A grim memory flashes in his mind, showing the haunted face of a battle-worn older man. Chanseok's voice explains, in this world, some deaths are unavoidable. The memory becomes more horrific, showing a person being incinerated alive. When you face a death like that, no matter what you think or what you feel, you die. Back in the present, a cynical smile plays on his lips as he gives his advice. So, don't be swayed by a desperate situation. As night falls on a remote building, Chanseok concludes his harsh lesson on survival. You can't survive in a world like this with that kind of mindset. Later, the team prepares to rest for the night. Chanseok steps out of the building they've decided to use as a temporary base. He reports back to his teammates, the building is fine and there are no traces of other corrupted beings. Min-ji lets out a sigh of relief. That's a relief. Chanseok asks Min-ji, who is on watch, can you see anything? Min-ji replies, it's dark, so nothing special. Chanseok gazes out into the darkness, noticing several small points of light scattered across the landscape. The good thing is, thanks to the lights, I can see the other hunters' locations. However, he knows this is a fatal mistake. He thinks to himself, using lights is dangerous since it reveals your location. He recalls the powerful mid-boss. If there were just small fries, it wouldn't matter if your position was revealed. But if another one of those things shows up. Despite his earlier words, Chanseok decides to offer some help. He pulls out his phone, thinking, I'll at least send a warning message. He types a message to all hunters, warning them that the rift is now Grade 3 and advising them to stop using lights. Having sent the message, Chanseok seems to formulate a new plan, beginning with a question. So, he asks his teammates for crucial information. If you destroy the core of the corrosion rift, all the corrupted beings will disappear. The female hunter confirms his theory. Yes, without the energy radiating from the corrosion rift, the corrupted zone will vanish. Upon hearing this, Chanseok processes the new information. A slight smile forms as he thinks, what? Then this is simple. His path forward is now clear, his objective singular. I'll just have to destroy the corrosion rift. Back at the safe house, the female hunter rests against a wall, exhausted from the day's events. Kim Min-ji is also fast asleep, finally getting some much-needed rest. Before leaving, Chanseok quietly places a small, button-like device on the floor near them. As he heads out alone into the night, he thinks, he said that device would sound an alarm if a monster approaches, so I should be able to let them rest and come back without worrying, right? Under the cover of darkness, Chanseok begins his solo journey towards the heart of the danger. He runs through the woods, confident in his plan. It's a good thing I confirmed the location of the Alpha Corrosion Rift during the briefing. At this rate, things should go smoothly. But his confidence is cut short as his eyes widen, sensing an unexpected presence. A shadowy figure emerges from the darkness with a piercing screech, blocking his path. Chanseok grits his teeth in annoyance at the complication. Ah, I jinxed it. The new monster lets out a low growl, and a voice echoes in Chanseok's mind. You again? As his hand crackles with dark energy. Chanseok remains silent, calmly observing the new foe that has appeared before him. His eyes scan the creature, noticing that this is not a monster he has encountered before. He stands before a towering, wolf-like beast with a terrifying skull for a face, thinking to himself, I haven't seen that face before. In the Jiadong Islands Hunters Association Situation Room, the atmosphere is tense. A report comes in. Reporting in, signals from some of Team 5's hunters have gone dark, presumed dead. The section chief panics as more bad news floods in. Reports say the monsters are moving in an organized fashion. Casualty confirmed, one from Team 3 hunters. Damn it. What the hell's been going on since earlier? In some no-rank erosion core. Trying to manage the escalating crisis, the section chief shouts, This is an emergency. We'll need reinforcements, so activate the emergency comms network and put out urgent requests for help to hunters in the area. An operator quickly complies. Yes, sir. Suddenly, a new report startles him. Sir, someone's approaching the Alpha Erosion Core. The section chief can only react with a shocked, what? He immediately barks an order. Contact them and tell them to stop right now. Who the hell is it? Another staff member reports from his station. The person heading to the Alpha Erosion Core right now is Yu Chanseok, hunter from Team 8. The scene cuts to Yu Chanseok running through a dark, corrupted forest. The section chief recalls the name, thinking, Yu Chanseok, the one who first closed the Erosion Core upgrade. Connect to his terminal right now and confirm he's alive. The section chief orders, his mind racing. An Erosion Core upgrade like this has never happened before. And in that chaos, he's the first to figure it out and head straight for the Alpha Erosion Core. A glimmer of hope appears in the chief's thoughts. Yu Chanseok might know the answer. As an operator confirms, just connected. Chanseok's voice erupts from the comms, screaming in the middle of a fight. C-rank shit. The monster is way fucking faster than I thought. Chanseok thinks as he throws himself to the ground, narrowly dodging a swift attack. He furiously berates the association over the open comms. If it's no rank, then C-rank. That's barely dodging it, you crazy bastards. They ain't the ones subjugating it, didn't even properly investigate. Back in the cartoonishly drawn situation room, two operators listen in shock to his tirade. One asks, should I mute him? As Chanseok's voice continues to boom, when I get back, I'll shove an erosion core up each of your faces. The section chief can only mutter in disbelief. Yu Chanseok confirmed alive. Meanwhile, Chanseok analyzes his own abilities in the heat of battle. My current paradoxical phantasm flame doesn't have the power to kill individuals. For strong ones, I have no choice but to whittle down their health with paradoxical phantasm flame and finish them off with my spear. He thinks, strategizing against the massive creature before him. The monster leaps towards him, showing no signs of stopping. But that big bastard has no intention of going down. Chanseok assesses his condition. I pulled too much mana from Jiadong Island fighting that giant bat during the day. Its power is way weaker than usual. He leaps into the air, knowing he needs a power boost. I can't leave Jiadong Island, so I need to find a spot on the island where I can draw mana. Suddenly his eyes dart to the side. He's noticed something. There amidst the corrupted trees is a glowing blue source of energy. Found it, he says to himself. As Chanseok dodges another attack from the raging monster, the blue energy surges from its source, crackling like lightning as it flows towards him. Chanseok absorbs the raw mana, replenishing his strength. Now revitalized, he turns to the beast with renewed confidence. You need to keep up. A sinister grin spreads across his face as a plan forms in his mind. Got something to check. Back in the frantic situation room, the operator delivers another piece of bad news. GPS signal lost. The section chief is speechless, his face a mask of horror. A voice confirms his fears. Hunter Yu Chanseok has entered the Alpha Erosion Core. All he can say is, damn it. The scene shifts to Chanseok standing alone on the now-cleared island under a peaceful night sky. He looks around and muses to himself. The nade's clearer than I thought. He recalls the intel he was given, that no rank and rank 3 erosion cores aren't supposed to spread quickly. But faced with this reality, a terrifying realization hits him. If the weaker ones are this dangerous, just how massive and catastrophic are the rank 1 and 2 cores? The monster takes a heavy step forward, its purple, clawed foot crushing the grass beneath it. Observing the creature, Chanseok notes grimly, erosion cores cleared its bounds. He stands before the colossal, wolf-like beast, the Alpha Erosion Core. Time to end things between us two, he thinks to himself with a detached air. I'm not really the obsessive type. The monster lets out a deafening roar, its maw wide as it bellows in pure rage. Chanseok grips his spear, beginning to channel his power as he considers its nature. One of the biggest issues with paradoxical phantasm flame is that it spreads to every living thing except me. The dark, sinister energy of the flame begins to creep and coalesce around his weapon, even if they're allies. Chanseok stands ready, his hand glowing with the ominous purple power of the phantasm flame. So if it gets to a level I can't control, I can't use it anymore. That's the drawback, but he unleashes the attack, and the purple energy surges forward, striking the beast as he dodges its clumsy assault. The paradoxical phantasm flame engulfs the monster, causing it to writhe in agony. The creature is enveloped in the crackling dark energy, screaming in torment as the flame takes its toll. Fighting solo makes that drawback non-existent. Chanseok thinks, a grim look of determination on his face as he prepares his next move. With the phantasm flame active, a new blue energy begins to form. The real key starts now, he thinks. A brilliant blue light gathers at his chest, the mana he's drawing from the island itself. The energy surges into him, an X-ray view showing it flowing through his very bones. The mana I sucked out of that thing spreads through every corner of my body, widening my meridians and making them tougher. He lets out a breath, visible wisps of the newly absorbed power escaping his lips. A confident smile spreads across his face as blue lightning crackles around his empowered form. Better efficiency than I expected. The monster continues to suffer under the effects of the paradoxical phantasm flame, letting out guttural sounds of pain. It lets out a final, agonizing shriek as the flames continue to burn. Realizing its predicament, the alpha erosion core lets out a powerful howl, sending pulsing blue rings of energy into the night sky. A call for help. Chanseok sees this and understands immediately. A knowing, cynical smirk appears on his face. Ha! So that's what you were up to. From the monster's perspective, Chanseok appears as a small, solitary figure standing against the bright moon, utterly unfazed by the beast's massive size. Chanseok observes as smaller, identical monsters answer their leader's call, emerging from the shadows. Called for backup, huh? He notes, watching the horde gather. He stands before the snarling pack, a wall of teeth and claws ready to descend on him. Too bad, he declares, completely unfazed by the growing threat. Cause overwhelming with numbers won't mean shit anymore, he thinks, standing defiantly as his paradoxical phantasm flame crackles around his spear. The dark energy erupts outwards, creating a swirling vortex of purple flame that instantly begins to incinerate the horde of smaller monsters. He assesses his own strength. A few times stronger than before, but still nowhere near my otherworld days. He refocuses on his main target. Where's the erosion core's core? Kim Minyi, the hunter, said it's the strongest eroded thing in this space. He suddenly stops his train of thought, noticing the change in his surroundings. Fire. The purple paradoxical phantasm flame dissipates completely. Went out. Behind him, the alpha monster looms, having patiently waited for this exact moment. His eyes widen in realization. The monster wasn't just a mindless beast, it was intelligent. The monster seizes the opportunity, unleashing a powerful attack of its own. Chanseok reacts in a blur of motion, his spear moving to intercept the attack. He faces the alpha core, a smirk on his face. You waited for my paradoxical phantasm flame to burn out, huh? Even said it loud, smart cookie. The monster glares down at him, its intent clear. The erosion core's core is on a whole other level. You are dead. Chanseok gets into his stance, unfazed by the threat. Let's see. At this level, I can probably pull off a 4-hit combo. He lunges forward, kicking up debris as he closes the distance to unleash his attack. He thrusts his spear forward with incredible force. The monster swiftly brings its hardened arm down, blocking the spear with a loud clang. Sparks fly at the point of impact as Chanseok's spear is parried. The force of the block is immense, but Chanseok holds his ground. His eyes narrow as he prepares his true technique. Dual Moon Spear. Chanseok unleashes a swirling vortex of blue energy that strikes the monster head-on. The monster is stunned by the unexpected power of the Dual Moon Spear. Chanseok explains the mechanics of his skill. A blue trail forms along my attack path, and that trail perfectly mimics the first strike, repeating it 4 times. If I attack alongside the trail, it's just a simple technique that chains 4 hits. The panel shows the initial strike landing on the monster's arm. The first blow of the combo lands true, but what if the blue trail attacks a beat later? A sweeping arc of blue light demonstrates the delayed path of the afterimage. It becomes a tricky double spear round dance that's hard to dodge. The monster is caught completely off guard as the blue afterimage strikes from an unexpected angle. Faced with the delayed combo assault, the Alpha Core is completely overwhelmed, its defenses faltering as it's unable to react to the complex, multi-directional attack. The relentless assault of the dual moon spear continues, the blue afterimages striking the monster repeatedly. They're bound to slip up eventually, Chanseok thinks, exploiting the opening. He lands gracefully, his attack concluded. With a confident smirk, he looks upon the doomed creature and declares, "It's over now." The full force of the combo hits, tearing the monster apart in a flurry of blue energy. The Alpha Erosion Core is overwhelmed, its body flashing with the light of multiple impacts as the technique finds its mark. The beast is utterly destroyed by the overwhelming power of the attack. As the monster dissolves into particles of light, Chanseok watches, thinking, "Thought you'd just vanish and be done with it. But what's this?" From the dissipating remains, a small, glowing object materializes. A box. He reaches out and takes the mysterious purple box that was left behind. He opens it, and his eyes widen in genuine surprise at its contents. He exclaims internally, "This is." The scene flashes back to the chaos in the Situation Room just moments before. Erosion zones are spreading from central Jiadong Island. "You idiots screwed up one hunter locator on an island this size to get us all killed." Team 9 hunters' signals cut out. The reports grow more desperate. Reinforcements responding to the call have encountered monsters, interference making it impossible to land on Jiadong Island. The section chief stands silently, facing the grim reality of the situation. His face is a mask of despair as he thinks, "Is it all over? Unless a miracle happens, all I can do is stand here and watch the hunters get wiped out," he thinks, his back to the room. Just then an operator shouts, "Section Chief." The operator rushes over, yelling, "Message from Hunter Yu Chanseok who entered the Alpha Erosion Core." The section chief snaps out of his despair, shocked. What does it say?" "Putting it up on the central screen," the operator replies. On the main monitor, a message begins to appear, broadcast to everyone. Across all channels, a single, stunning sentence is displayed. "GYODONG Island Alpha Erosion Core cleared as of this moment." Confirmations flood the screen, reinforcing the unbelievable news. "GYODONG Island Alpha Erosion Core signal VANISHED. Confirmed CLEARED. All ERODED ENTITIES ENCONTERED by hunters confirmed ELIMINATED." The section chief stares, his mind unable to process what he's seeing. A miracle actually happened. How? The chapter ends with Chanseok sitting peacefully under the starry night sky on the now-safe island, taking a quiet moment for himself. Nice air. The flashback to the battle at Jiadongdo Island begins, and in a flash of blue energy, a hunter is sent flying, crashing hard against the ground. Despite being wounded, Han Sang-ah retaliates, unleashing a powerful electrical blast from her hand. Her hand trembles from exhaustion, but she tightens her grip on her weapon, showing her resolve to keep fighting. Panting and bruised, Han Sang-ah thinks to herself in despair, "Ha! There are so many of them now. Yu Chanseok is gone, too." Suddenly, Kim Min-yi puts a hand on her shoulder, trying to get her attention. Han Sang-ah. The scene pans out, revealing the duo standing on a cliff overlooking a massive, endless horde of monsters below. Han Sang-ah loses hope, wondering, "Will we make it out of this alive?" Han Sang-ah looks over at the equally exhausted and battered Kim Min-yi, realizing Kim Min-yi is already at his limit. She looks down at her own bleeding leg, admitting to herself, "I don't know how much longer I can hold on either." A grotesque, bat-like monster with glowing eyes lunges towards them, letting out a terrifying shriek. Han Sang-ah tries to react, but her body is pushed past its breaking point. She lets out a small sound of distress as she begins to lose her balance. As she falls, with monsters closing in from all sides, she thinks, "My legs won't hold me up." Seeing his comrade fall into mortal danger, Kim Min-yi screams her name in desperation. Sang-ah. The monster's jaws are just inches away from the fallen Han Sang-ah, its glowing eyes fixated on her. Kim Min-yi can only watch in horror, his eyes wide with fear for his friend's life. A moment of stillness hangs in the air under the quiet, full moon. Suddenly a close-up on a pair of calm, closed eyes. A savior has arrived. The eyes open, revealing the sharp gaze of Yu Chanseok as he assesses the situation, letting out a questioning. In the next instant, Han Sang-ah and Kim Min-yi are left completely baffled. "Huh," Kim Min-yi says aloud, "they're gone." What? The scene transitions to the Jiadongdo Island Hunter Assembly Point, a makeshift camp filled with personnel and ambulances. Yu Chanseok walks through the chaotic camp, observing the grim aftermath. There are a lot of injured people, he thinks, Guess the corrosion creatures went on a rampage while I was gone. Two other hunters, one with glasses and another with a bandaged head, spot him and exclaim in shock, "Huh, you Chanseok." You Chanseok. The same hunters watch him walk away into the forest, still in disbelief. Are you saying that guy really took down a grade 3 corrosion rift all by himself? One asks. No way, how on earth? The other wonders. Back at the assembly point, Han Sang-a and Kim Min-yi are resting among the survivors when they spot him. Kim Min-yi waves, calling out, Chanseok. Approaching them, Yu Chanseok calmly replies, Ah, there you are. Kim Min-yi immediately confronts him, showing him a text on his phone with a worried expression. I was shocked when I got your text, he says, demanding an explanation. How could you even think of taking on the corrosion rift alone? To maintain his image, Yu Chanseok gives a disingenuous answer. Let's just say, to protect the hunters, it wasn't my body that moved, but my heart. Han Sang-a reacts with a disgusted, this bastard, while Chanseok privately thinks, things went well, so I should act like a good guy. Managing your image is a skill, too. As Chanseok gets up to leave, thinking he should have set out before sundown, a voice calls out to him. Hunter Yu Chanseok. A man in a black suit approaches and introduces himself formally. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Byeon Jiangti, the third branch manager for the northern Gyeonggi province. Chanseok replies coolly, Ah, you're the one who told me to come here. Do you have a moment? Byeon Jiangti gets straight to the point. The mayor would like to see you. The scene shifts to a large, official-looking building under a downpour. Stepping out of a car into the rain, Chanseok thinks with annoyance. Is ordering people around a common trait among old folks? As he walks under an umbrella, a shrewd thought crosses his mind. Come to think of it, the contract didn't mention how much of a bonus I'd receive for clearing a grade 3 corrosion rift, did it? Since I'm here, I might as well negotiate the price. Another man in a suit is waiting for him with an umbrella, greeting him. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Yu Chanseok. The man smiles and introduces himself. I am Lee Pilyi, the Communications and Liaison Officer. As they walk through the building, Lee Pilyi explains, the mayor has been sincerely looking forward to this meeting. When I received the report from Gyeonggi Island early this morning, it shocked me. Lee Pilyi continues, after seeing it, the mayor canceled his entire morning. Chanseok feigns modesty, replying, Is that so? I mean, we could have just met later. It's not like I did anything that impressive. Lee Pilyi quickly dismisses his modesty. Don't say that. A rookie hunter destroying a grade 3 corrosion rift single-handedly hasn't happened since the time when the very first hunter, the great pioneer, was still active. Chanseok internally reflects. I suppose not. I found it too tough to handle alone, though to think there was a precedent. Isn't that guy the real monster? They arrive at a large wooden door and Lee Pilyi announces, Mr. Mayor, Hunter Yu Chanseok is here. From behind a desk with a nameplate that reads Incheon Mayor Park, a voice says, Oh my, thank you for coming all this way. The man behind the desk smiles broadly. I am Park Jin, the mayor of Incheon. My apologies for calling you out in such awful weather. Haha. In his spacious office, Mayor Park gestures towards the couch. Please have a seat and we can talk. He then instructs his subordinate. Officer Lee Pilyi, could you get us some coffee? As 2 cups of coffee are served, Mayor Park begins his address. You have truly done a great service for our country, Hunter Yu Chanseok. Sitting comfortably, the mayor elaborates. As the mayor of Incheon, Gyeonggi Island was truly a pain in the neck. We had to deal with it, but our budget was limited, so hiring an expensive guild was difficult. Chanseok listens, thinking, You must be glad it's been taken care of this time, especially since you resolved it at a relatively low cost. The mayor states, That's right. However, I heard that this was your first commission, Mr. Yu Chanseok. While sipping his coffee, Chanseok confirms, Yes, it was. The mayor suddenly stands up, his eyes wide with excitement. To think that such an incredible person's first steps were in Incheon. As the mayor of Incheon, I'm so proud. Mayor Park begins a sudden, impassioned speech, shouting, The safest country in the world, the Republic of Korea. Chanseok looks on, completely baffled, thinking, What's with that all of a sudden? The mayor continues, And here in Incheon, we are one of Korea's key regions. The mayor's speech turns to infrastructure, with an image of Incheon Airport appearing behind him. That's because countless goods come and go thanks to the wonderful infrastructure of Incheon Airport. On top of that, thanks to the Free Economic Zone project, he continues boasting, showing images of modern skyscrapers. International cities like Songdo and Cheongna have so many foreigners who want to invest that it's difficult to even choose. The mayor becomes increasingly animated, pumping his fist as he reaches the climax of his grandstanding speech, boasting about the massive funds coming in through Incheon's international cities. the goods transported through the airport. Bringing his performance to a close, the mayor turns his full attention to Chanseok, who listens with a skeptical expression. He makes a sweeping promise, setting the stage for his actual proposal. I will ensure that the path Mr. Yu Chanseok walks as a hunter will be a smooth one. I will provide assistance. After his long speech, the mayor leans in, a serious expression on his face. Mr. Yu Chanseok, allow me to ask you just one thing. The scene cuts to Chanseok in a car with Lee Pilyi, who is driving. Lee Pilyi asks the question, could you tell me what your purpose is for being a hunter? Chanseok gives a crude but honest-sounding reply. If there's a clogged toilet spewing filth, someone has to dive into the shit water and unclog it. Taken aback by the vulgar analogy, Lee Pilyi grips the steering wheel and simply says, I see. Lee Pilyi continues, laying out the future. You will become famous. Skilled hunters are extremely popular. There will be companies asking you to shoot commercials, and you may even get scouted for famous TV shows. With a slight smirk, Chanseok says, it seems you're worried I'll change due to fame. Lee Pilyi admits, yes, there are many cases of promising hunters who become intoxicated with popularity and honor and lose sight of their duty. Chanseok internally reflects on this. In a way, that's only natural. Just across the truce line, the dangerous corrosion zone is full of menacing monsters. As their car drives over a bridge in the rain, his thoughts continue. The only safe place is Korea. It's called the last sanctuary left on Earth, after all. But even that is being swayed by the power of capital. Lee Pilyi adds, what you have accomplished this time, Mr. Yu Chanseok, is incredible. Many people in difficult situations will be watching you with interest. With a look of sincere hope, Lee Pilyi concludes, I just hope that you will continue to be a symbol of hope, Mr. Yu Chanseok. The scene shows the rain-streaked window of the mayor's office as Chanseok reflects on the conversation. After hearing that, I was curious how far they'd go. Back in the mayor's office, Chanseok smirks. He thinks he's not even trying to hide it, but just laying it all out on the table. Unfortunately for him, I'm not the type to be swayed by something like this. A brief flash of an older, heavily scarred version of himself crosses his mind as he thinks, having lived for so long, I've suffered through countless hardships. Chanseok decides to cut to the chase, directly addressing the mayor's unspoken offer. If you're going to provide me with this much support, I'm sure there's something I have to do in return, right? For example, he looks the mayor dead in the eye and finishes his sentence, helping a mayor with falling approval ratings get re-elected. Mayor Park is left speechless and shocked. The mayor quickly recovers, feigning a relaxed posture. Ah, you're quite well informed, he chuckles nervously. You can find all sorts of things on your phone these days. Chanseok presses on, showing he's done his homework. Your term is scheduled to end early next year. Looking at how things are going, I read that the general consensus is that re-election will be difficult. The mayor's confident facade cracks a little, but he tries to regain leverage. WL, you are direct. Actually, in the process of you participating in this commission, didn't you need approval from Incheon City Hall? Chanseok sees the angle immediately. He thinks, unlike what the announcement said, it's true that for a rookie to participate, I needed the Incheon mayor's permission. If he framed it well, he could go around saying that I'm a talent discovered by Park Jin. It looks like he just wants to ride my coattails. Feeling he's regained control, the mayor continues his sales pitch. Thanks to the infrastructure I mentioned earlier, as the mayor of Incheon, I maintain relationships with many overseas and domestic companies. He picks up a box of coffee mix, offering a concrete example. For instance, here, the model for this instant coffee mix brand. Their contract is ending soon, so we could replace their face with Hunter Yu Chanseok's. As the mayor rambles on, and that's not all. In the future, there's so much more. Chanseok has heard enough. He slams his coffee mug down on the table, sharply saying, Mr. Mayor. Chanseok looks up, his expression cold and dismissive, a stark contrast to the mayor's fake enthusiasm. It seems you take me for someone cheap. Pardon? Looking at the news these days, it seems the world is in need of someone who can change this dreary atmosphere. We need a new face. Chanseok continues, spelling out his leverage with cold confidence. Which means that if a talent like me continues to work as a hunter, everything that you, Mayor Park, said you could give me is my share to take anyway. The mayor, flustered, makes one last weak attempt. WL, I can provide you with safe and high-paying commissions. I can select them and offer them to you. Chanseok flatly dismisses it. That's a really uninteresting offer. Getting up to leave, Chanseok offers some sarcastic advice. Just give your congrats to the coffee mix model. He concludes with a final verbal jab. Since he'll be able to extend his contract, leaving the mayor sitting in stunned silence. The rain falls outside, marking the end of the tense negotiation. The scene cuts back to the dark alley. The mysterious hooded figure, having heard Kim Min-yee's report, simply says, "I see." The figure confirms, so the Jayadongdo Island test was a failure. Kim Min-yee, still kneeling in the rain, repeats his apology. "I apologize." The hooded figure seems unconcerned by the failure, saying, "It can't be helped." Desperate, Kim Min-yee stammers, "But there is good news." The mysterious figure looks at the phone Kim Min-yee is holding out. "What's this?" Kim Min-yee explains. It's a clip from his Hunter Association certification exam video. The video plays, showing Yu Chanseok's explosive power during his exam, with on-screen text exclaiming his incredible skill. Kim Min-yee simply says the name, Yu Chanseok. A sinister, knowing smile spreads across the hooded figure's face as they watch the clip. "He's excellent, isn't he?" This reveals that Chanseok himself was the real target of their interest all along.